All right, welcome everybody. In today's video, I want to go over activity 1.3.3, steps 17 through 26. Actually, it's step 25, maybe 25 and 26. So here I have my sketch from step 16. Now, if you do have your sketch saved, you can go ahead and open it up. That way you can continue working through step 17 and so forth. If you don't have your sketch from step 16, then you have to try to find it or try to create a new one, right? So go ahead and go through the steps again, or you can just create the sketch from step 16. So I'm going to go ahead and read through the steps again and just kind of go along slowly. So we already opened the sketch that we were editing. Now again here, all you have to do is, in this part, you don't want to start a new sketch, right? You want to remember, this is our sketch one, this is our sketch that we're working on. So whenever you want to add something or delete something, you have to go to this sketch. Because if you create a new sketch, it's going to start a new sketch with sketch number 2, and that's going to be another something we don't want, right? So here we can just right click and say edit this sketch. Now again, if I can see my constraints, if you can't, you can just go right click and say again hide all constraints or show all constraints. That way you can see all of the constraints. Okay, step 18 says try dragging some of the sketch elements and observe the sketch behavior. So again, it's just dragging to observe behavior. There we go. There we go. Just kind of see how each line behaves. Okay. Okay. Step 19, determine if the following restrictions are satisfied in the sketch. Lines 2 and 10 should always remain parallel. Now for this step, you have to scroll up and then look at on step above 17, lines 2 and 10. Right, so those two should always remain parallel. So where is our parallel constraint? I believe these are already parallel, so these should always remain parallel. So okay, we got that. Let's just go ahead and keep going to see if it ends up being the sketch that we want to. Line 6 should always remain parallel with the x-axis despite revision in the orientation of any other edge line. Okay, so line 6, where is line 6? Parallel. So I'm assuming it wants us to create a horizontal constraint. There we go. Lines 5 and 7 should always be the same length. So let's go ahead and look at 5 and 7. So let's go ahead and use the equal constraint. Again, make sure you use the correct constraint. Symmetric, equal. Lines 5 and 7. Okay, we got that. The design will require that line 3 and line 9 align horizontally so they move up and down together. Lines 3 and 9. Okay, so that they move up and down together. And I believe it's going to be these 3 and 9. Okay, 3 and 9. Smooth, tangent. To lie parallel to each other. I want them to move equal. Okay, and I believe it's going to be, well, it already has the equal constraint. Let's go ahead and add the equal constraint. Let's go ahead and check to see if they move. Nope, they don't move. So let's add the equal constraint. Now let's try to see if they move. Okay. Tangent. Okay, so let's add the collinear. Now, again, if I move it, it should. All right, now they move together, right? So they have a collinear constraint. Parallel and then collinear. So we can go ahead and delete the equal constraint that we just put. Okay, if you make an error, that's fine. Again, I can always go back, undo, undo, undo. There we go. I went back, and then all I have to do is apply the collinear constraint. There we go. It says add a geometric constraint to your CAD sketch to enforce each restriction that is not satisfied. Okay. So all it's saying is when you on step 20, it says add a geometric constraint to your CAD sketch to enforce each restriction that is not satisfied. So it means that you're going to look at step 22 and your sketch should look like step 22. And whichever constraints you're missing, you're going to go ahead and add those in. Right, so we have an equal constraint here. Let's go ahead and add these. What else are we missing? Perpendicular. Okay. Equal, equal. So let's go ahead and move the sketch over here. There we go. So it looks a little bit similar. Got it. Now these two are perpendicular. Equal and parallel constraint. Okay, so this one we can delete. It's saying make this line equal as the other green line. So we'll just go ahead and right click and delete. What about this one? Same thing, we can delete this one. Okay, these two should be equal or parallel, right? So it's parallel and equal. There we go. So what else do we have? So they should be equal and also parallel. There we go. Okay, so step 22 says use a construction line to create a vertical line through the midpoints of lines 1 and 16. We will later use this construction line as a line of symmetry. So I'm going to select the line and select construction here. There we go. Once it's green, I know it's in the middle. I can put down my construction line and press escape. Now every time I create a line, I need to switch this off. And then there is my sketch for step 22. Again, it goes over the steps. Use a line tool, but use a construction line. We already did that. 23, fix a midpoint of line 1 to the origin of the sketch. In this case, because the origin is always fixed in the place of the sketch, you don't need to add a coincident constraint between the midpoint of line 1 and the origin. So let's go ahead and add a coincident constraint. Go ahead and look for it. There we go, coincident. Okay, and we're talking about the midpoint of line 1 to the origin. The point being constraint contains a midpoint constraint. Remove the midpoint constraint to apply the coincident constraint. Okay, so let's go ahead and... So again, if you weren't able to do it, just like in this video, you can go ahead and go on to step 24, which it says Draw a circle on your sketch as shown below. The center of the circle should meet the following constraints. So let's go ahead and draw a circle. On a vertical line to the intersection of lines 3 and 4. Tangent to a horizontal line through the midpoint of line 2. Okay, it doesn't specify the size. Okay, it should be on a vertical line, so we'll add the vertical point. That way we can line these up. That's fine. Again, we can draw a construction line like in the picture. There we go. We can deselect the construction line. We can add the tangent constraint. There we go. Now we can right click as well and say show all constraints. That way we can see what's going on with this sketch, what kind of constraints it has. Alright, so step 25 says mirror the circle across the construction line. While constraint was automatically applied between the two circles when you mirror the circle. So we have to select the mirror tool. Mirror. We want to mirror the circle. The mirror line is the middle. So it should be, so we can press cancel. Actually, this line should be, right click, should be a construction line. There we go. So now when we use the mirror tool, we can select the circle, and then the mirror line has to be this construction line. Apply, and you click apply, and then we press done. And now we are done with step 25. So again, try to get it as close as possible to step 25, to the sketch that you see in the video. And then again, after you're done, make sure you save your work and that you add your text. So you can go ahead and click here. Notice I'm still in the sketch. I haven't finished the sketch. That's fine. You can still add your name. Now, since this is going to be in millimeters, you want to try to go for the highest possible size. That's good. So you're going to go ahead and add your name. Again, save it, and then take a full window screenshot. And I will see you in the next video.